It hangs there, suspended in a state of defiant vulnerability against the pristine, unforgiving white of the gallery wall. A splash of organic yellow, interrupted by a violent diagonal slash of industrial gray. It is a standard Cavendish banana, the kind you might find sitting forgotten in a fruit bowl, slowly turning brown as the week wears on. It was purchased, likely for less than $1, perhaps 30 cents, from a local Miami grocery store. The duct tape is torn, not cut. The edges are rough, jagged, implying a haste that stands in stark, insulting contrast to the centuries of meticulous oil glazing and marble polishing that define the history of this space. Notice the way the light falls on the skin. Under the harsh museum-grade halogen spots, the waxy texture of the peel gleams with an almost pornographic hyperreality. It casts a shadow, a soft, curved silhouette that proves its three-dimensionality, yet it feels flatter than a painting. This is Maurizio Cattelan's Comedian, and it is staring back at you with the blank, indifferent gaze of inanimate produce. To look at this work is to confront an immediate, visceral paradox. We are trained, as art lovers, to seek the hand of the artist, the unique brushstroke, the chiseled mark, the evidence of human struggle and mastery over material. Here, that struggle is absent. The hand involved was merely the hand of a shopper selecting a piece of fruit that wasn't too bruised, and the hand of a prankster tearing a strip of tape. There is no craft here, only choice. And yet, the object commands the room. It demands the same reverence, the same hushed tones, and the same security detail as a Renaissance Madonna. But look closer, past the absurdity of the materials, and observe the inevitable tragedy inherent in the medium. Unlike a bronze cast or an oil canvas, which fight a noble war against time, this masterpiece is surrendering. It is a biological time bomb. Even as it was installed, the process of decay had already begun. The sugars are breaking down, the cellular structure is collapsing. In a few days, the vibrant yellow will dull to a sickly ochre, then to black. The structure will soften, sagging under the tension of the tape until it eventually gives way or begins to leak. This biological impermanence is the first stroke of Cattelan's genius. By choosing a medium that rots, he creates a dependency loop that no other sculpture possesses. The collector who buys this work is not buying this specific banana. They cannot be. This banana will be mush by next week. They are buying the idea of the banana. To maintain the work, the owner must perpetually go to the store, buy a new banana, and retape it according to the specific instructions. The masterpiece is not a static object, but a ritual. It is a set of instructions for an endless reenactment. In this light, the physical object becomes ghost-like, a temporary vessel for a concept that is immortal only because it is transferable. We are looking at a still life that refuses to be still, a memento mori that doesn't just symbolize death, but actively enacts it before our eyes. It is a joke, yes, but it is a joke about our desperate need to possess things that cannot truly be kept. The banana mocks the very idea of permanence in art, rotting away while the price tag remains eternally, absurdly high. To understand why a piece of fruit can command the attention of the global elite, we must peel back the layers of history and look into the porcelain abyss of the past. The joke Cattelan is telling did not start in Miami in 2019. It started in New York in 1917, when a French trickster named Marcel Duchamp walked into a plumbing supply store, bought a standard Bedfordshire urinal, signed it R. Mutt, and submitted it to an exhibition under the title Fountain. Duchamp's act was a declaration of war on the retina. He argued that art should not be about pleasing the eye, what he called retinal art, but about engaging the mind. He invented the ready-made, the radical proposition that an object becomes art simply because the artist chooses it. The artist's labor is no longer in the fabrication, but in the selection. When we look at Cattelan's banana, we are seeing the direct descendant of Duchamp's urinal. but where Duchamp used cold, hard industrial ceramic to critique the logic of the industrial age, Cattelan uses soft, perishable organic matter to critique the logic of the consumption age. Cattelan is the court jester of the contemporary art world, a role he plays with a razor-sharp awareness of the mechanisms of power. A jester, historically, was the only person allowed to mock the king to his face. Cattelan mocks the art market, the king of our cultural moment, by feeding it its own absurdity. He knows that the market craves novelty and controversy more than beauty. By taping a banana to a wall, he is testing the limits of the institution's power to transmute garbage into gold. It is a litmus test for the viewer's faith. Do you believe in the authority of the gallery? If you do, then this is art. If you don't, it's just groceries. Notice the humor, but do not mistake it for laziness. There is a specific aggressive comedy in using duct tape. Duct tape is the tool of the amateur fixer, the temporary solution, the good enough repair. To use it to affix a work of high art is a deliberate aesthetic clash. It creates a friction between the high culture of the white cube gallery and the low culture of the hardware store. This is the visual language of the meme brought into the cathedral of art. Furthermore, comedian exposes the uncomfortable truth about value. We like to believe that the value of art is intrinsic, that a painting is worth millions because of the genius and rare pigment contained within it. Cattelan proves that value is extrinsic. It is social. It is agreed upon. By removing the craftsmanship, he leaves only the raw social contract exposed. The anger that this work generates, the people shouting, "My kid could do that," is part of the sculpture. The outrage is the texture of the work. Cattelan has turned the public's reaction into his medium. He is sculpting with our indignation. Every tweet, every news article, every eye roll adds a layer of varnish to the piece, solidifying its importance. He has trapped us in a room where the only way to win the game is to refuse to play, yet we cannot look away. He has proven that in the modern era, the narrative of the object is far more valuable than the object itself. The final act of this conceptual play occurred not in a gallery, but in the frenzied theater of a Sotheby's auction room in 2024. The hammer came down at $6.2 million. The winner was Justin's son, a cryptocurrency entrepreneur, a man whose entire fortune is built on digital assets, tokens that, like the concept of the banana, exist primarily as agreed-upon beliefs rather than physical realities. It was a match made in conceptual heaven. But the story did not end with the purchase. In a move that felt inevitable, Son announced he would eat the banana. And he did. In front of a swarm of cameras, he peeled the $6 million fruit and consumed it. This was not an act of destruction, it was an act of completion. This performance closed the loop that Cattelan had opened. If the art is not the object, but the idea, then consuming the object is the ultimate demonstration of ownership. It is a Eucharist of late-stage capitalism. Take, eat, this is my value, given for you. Son's consumption of the work echoes the earlier unauthorized performance by artist David DeTuna, who ate the original installation in 2019, calling it Hungry Artist. But where DeTuna's act was an intervention, Son's was a sanctioned ritual of the elite. It perfectly mirrors the era of NFTs and meme stocks. We have entered an age where the signifier has completely detached from the signified. We trade in attention, in clout, in moments. Comedian is the ultimate avatar for this shift. It is a meme in the original Dawkinsian sense, a unit of cultural transmission. By eating the banana, Son proved Cattelan's point one last time. The physical banana is gone. It has been digested. But the art remains. The certificate of authenticity, the right to tape a new banana to a wall and call it comedian, sits safely in a vault or a digital wallet. The value was never in the potassium, it was in the provenance. In the end, comedian serves as a mirror to our own desires. It asks us what we value and why. It mocks the absurdity of a world where people starve while fruit sells for millions. Yet it also celebrates the sheer, unadulterated power of the human imagination to assign meaning to the meaningless. It is a joke, yes, a $6 million joke, but as we stand amidst the leftovers, looking at the empty peel of our own consumerist culture, we have to wonder, are we laughing at the banana, or is the banana laughing at us? The masterpiece of the 21st century is not a painting of a sunset or a sculpture of a hero. It is a mirror reflecting the chaotic, intangible, meme-driven insanity of our own minds. And like the best jokes, it's only funny because it's true. The banana is gone, but the echo of the tape ripping off the wall will last forever. It is the perfect portrait of now, perishable, expensive, and absolutely obsessed with its own image.